Is it really a hostile takeover to want a Green Party that actually feels alive? Is it hostile to want a party that fights like a movement rather than some middle management meeting? Well, a senior party member from the Greens stated that some opponents were upset by the way that Polanski, who joined the Greens only in 2017, took the party hierarchy by surprise in launching his leadership bid in May. It feels a bit like a hostile takeover of the party, they said. No one knew he was planning this, and suddenly there are all these new members who tend to feel very much from the left. They don't seem to be the only one who are showing skepticism over this. Ramsey and Chown seem to echo a somewhat similar sentiment when it comes to Zach's populist rhetoric. They have openly expressed skepticism at what they see as Polanski's polarizing and simplistic approach, arguing that his more overtly left-leaning stance, he has said he could be open to working with the new party co-led by Jeremy Corbyn and Zara Sultana, are likely to put off more moderate voters. Is this really the time to be moderate, though? To be a fence sitter? To be impartial? I don't know about you, but I don't want that sort of politics. Data from YouGov suggests that Polanski isn't just a niche sensation. Amongst those considering voting Green, a majority 52%, say the party should act like a general left-wing party focused on social justice, exactly the type of pitch that Polanski is making. In short, many potential voters seem ready for a bolder Green message, and maybe Zach is showing real potential for that. Curtis, let me bring you in. I think many have already dubbed Polanski's surge, a hostile takeover. Do you think that that's a fair judgment to make, or is it just the establishment panicking at a grassroots uprising?
Well, no, I don't think it's a sensible thing to say at all. It being a hostile takeover doesn't make any sense because, first of all, Zach Polanski is the current deputy leader of the Green Party. So he's in a position of power kind of anywhere within the Green movement. He's not like some sort of outsider that's sort of just come in. So that doesn't make any sense. Also, the campaign of Adrian Ramsey and Ellie Chowns, they're trying to say that we're more the sort of professional, electorally focused sort of wing of the party, the steady shit, the cautionary sort of side of the party. But you got to remember, Zach Polanski has been part of that leadership team which got them 4 seats, which got them 800 councillors, which got them the results that they've seen over the last couple of years, and especially over the last year. So it's really strange that it's not like... I mean, I do think there is an establishment within the Green Party, and I think people sort of turn their nose up at that, but there kind of is. It's not the same as the establishment when it comes to the Labour Party or the state, because the Green Party doesn't have any power when it comes to the states. But I think it's fair to say there is some kind of establishment within the Greens. And I think over the course of this campaign, you've seen certain figures coalesce around the sort of current leadership, which is, or 50% of the leadership, which is Adrian Ramsey. And there have been people behind the scenes not happy with Zach Polanski, which is strange. Now, it can't be a hostile takeover because it's a democratic election. That makes zero sense. You're putting yourself forward. You're making a pitch to say, I want to be the leader of the Green Party. This is what my vision is for the party. And members get to decide. This talk of hostile takeover really reminds me of the Labour Party. They really shouldn't be mimicking the Labour Party, but it does. It sounds like your establishment Labour MPs, your Blairite Labour MPs, and the way they spoke about Jeremy Corbyn and new members. They called it a takeover. I'm pretty sure they might even said it was a hostile takeover. Now, again, Jeremy Corbyn didn't take over the party. In fact, he was in the party for a very long time. He was an MP, or was a Labour MP for 40 years, in the party for 60 years. In fact, many people who were calling the left and Jeremy Corbyn entryists were in the Labour Party less time than Jeremy Corbyn, and many activists that came back to the party were old Labour voters. It was just a democratic election, and the Labour right was saying these things because they lost control, because the sort of Labour machine, the Labour apparatus, which was held by the right, which is once again held by the right, was throwing their toys out the pram when the membership decided, actually, we want the Labour Party to go in a different direction. And Jeremy Corbyn simply said, look, I'm going to throw my hat in the ring, and he won a democratic election. I'm seeing the exact same parallels within the Greens. It's not quite as bad, obviously. I mean, I don't think whoever these figures are, by the way, we don't have a name. Whoever these figures are not quite the same as the Labour right. I mean, I remember a while ago, Owens Jones telling me how some of these people, the Labour right, the Blairites, are soulless bastards because they were horrible people. I don't think these Green figures are like that. But it's absolutely a similar sort of feeling I'm getting. It's also strange as well that they're saying this sort of came out of nowhere. He didn't tell us about it, tell us about his leadership campaign. Should he really, though? Should he have to announce to, I don't know, the current leadership that he's going to be running for leader of the Green Party? Why should he? And also, if you want a democratic election, it feels like it's sort of a stitch up. If you were to go behind closed doors, tell quote unquote establishment figures within the Green Party and say, this is what I'm going to do before you tell, I don't know, the rest of the membership. Maybe it's something that, I don't know, that's what politicians do. Maybe they expected Zach Polanski to turn around and say a week before he was going to announce his leadership, by the way, I'm running, just to give you a heads up. I don't really care though. I mean, who cares? If that's what they expected, okay, fine. It doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, there is a leadership election happening, and the job of Adrian and Ellie Chowns is to put forth a vision which members can buy into. Now, we don't know. We don't have any internal polling data of who's winning. A lot of chatter are saying that Zach Polanski is way ahead. I don't like to do that because he might not be, and obviously there's going to be many Green Party members who probably represent more of the rural areas, the more, dare I say, conservative-leaning Green Party members. I mean, there is that constituency within the party. I mean, Adrian Ramsey, he won Waveney Valley, was a Tory constituency. But I do think that the injection of the membership is probably going to push Zach Polanski to the leadership role. But once again, it's very negative. It's very, it's how, once again, it reminds me of Rachel Reeves saying that I'm glad that actually the Labour membership is down because that means the left aren't within the party anymore. What a weird thing to say. I mean, you want the party to have broad appeal, which once again also flies in the face of what Ellie and Adrian has been saying, which is we don't want to be a protest party. We don't want to be a clique. We want to expand and have broad appeal. Well, a good way of showing that is bringing in members, bringing in people who are willing to pay, volunteer for you, who otherwise wouldn't have joined the party. I mean, if anything, Zach Polanski has more broader appeal. He's more likely to peel off those who voted for Jeremy Corbyn or those thinking about this new Your Party. I don't think Ellie and Adrian really are going to convince these people. So all of this is very reminiscent of the Labour Party. It's not a hostile takeover. It's a democratic election. And I think that this is probably, they feel like they're losing control, and they feel like they're probably not going to win this one, and they're sort of panicking.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think when you try to brandish something as a hostile takeover, you're attempting to reduce like the momentum that individual's probably garnered over time. Zach Polanski's done that on his own accord and has been able, like you said, he's got this broad appeal. And I think that's something that's really important. And it's something that he's quite open about speaking about, isn't he? Like he says he wants to adopt a more populist rhetoric. And he also says that he's open to working with anyone against the right, or particularly those from the left. But my question to you then is, like, because of his open willingness to work with those on the left, against the right, does that leave the Greens vulnerable to watering down their principles just to chase numbers?
I don't think so. If anything, the sorts of people that Zach Polanski wants to attract might mean he has to be more radical. So the Green Party are a social democratic party with socialists in it. Kind of the same as the Labour Party. The Labour Party, I don't think ever was a socialist party. It was, as Leo Panich said, I believe it was Leo Panich who said it's a party with socialists inside it. Whereas this new Your Party, I'm calling it Your Party, we don't know the name, but it's just so easy to say Your Party. This new party potentially could be a fully democratic, grassroots-led party, which means it could actually be a genuine socialist party, which would already make it more radical than the Green Party. Now, if Zach Polanski wants to peel off those voters, he's actually going to have to be more radical. He'll have to go to the left of Adrian Ramsey and Ellie Chowns. So I don't see how him trying to sort of broaden appeal would water it down. It's very different if you're a party of government, because the Greens, they have 4 seats. Next election, maybe they get 20, who knows? But then right now, they're not a party of government. When you're a party of government, like the Labour Party, which probably won't be in government for very long, you have far more scope for compromise because you're trying to build a mass coalition of the majority of the electorate. That's way different. When you're the Greens, you're just simply trying to capture the left. Now, I would say there's a good 20%, maybe 25% who subscribe, maybe more actually, who subscribe to the radical social democratic agenda. So the Greens don't need to water their policies down whatsoever. And I think, once again, if Zach Polanski wants to try and get these ex-Corbyn voters or those who want to join this new party, he'd have to be more radical to try and keep them. Because any sort of idea that the Greens are going to water themselves down, and any indication that Ellie Chowns or Adrian Ramsey wins the Green Party leadership, I don't think there'll be many people who voted for Jeremy Corbyn, voted Labour, who were stuck between the Greens and your party, would stay with the Greens. I think a lot of them may leave.
Support independent media. Support social justice that's there on social media. Thank you. Turn left.